Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I have a little bit of a nostalgia of a replay for you because this is sent in by FiciCZ in the Soviet T-126 Premium Light Tank, battle rating 2.7 and also rank 1, which will be important in one or two scenes later. Now, why is this gameplay nostalgic? Because this tank is basically a mini T-34 at a battle rating where just the armor of it is very handy. Also, the speed of the tank is impressive for that battle rating. Overall, the handling is quite nice, the firepower is alright, and so you have a very good tank that just is a little bit improved by all the salad on the front plating of the tank that confuses especially new low tier players. And so we are set for a gameplay that could have been easily be done a few years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so this is exactly what caused all this Russian bias, Soviet bias claims in the early days of War Thunder. Since then, a lot of things have changed. A lot of mechanics were just made differently. Also, a lot of new maps came in. But this is the Cuban map, and it is, I think, the second map that ever saw the light of day in War Thunder after Karelia, which was the first map to my knowledge. And so you can see this map has seen several reworks. Fici has now entered the first cap, and he is just happily capping it. Now, the thing is that he now aggressively moves forward, and this gameplay overall is played very fast, quickly, aggressive, and I have the impression that Fici is a little bit of a dirty little seal clubber, isn't he? Because the way that he plays, the way that he takes his shots, the way that he just makes his decisions and how he reacts to changes, they are not typical for a new player. They are well too quick, they are well too good. But anyway, I think that this is very important to show you. So he sees the Chihakai and he chases after him, but it doesn't alert him by prematurely shooting, which could have been done here and there. And again, he sees him going around the corner, trying to contest the cap, and then he hears the second one, the Chihakai, and he greets him with a shot, takes out the gunner, and then finishes him off by killing the driver. Then he goes forwards, and he tries to kill now that guy. But he prioritizes immediately the M22 for several reasons. And so now he bounces one shot from the back of the tank. He disables now this guy. The BT7 joins him. He bounces another shot from the back, gets a kill assist, and now both guys are capturing or at least decapping the point. But the BT7 gets shot repeatedly, quickly into the back, and instead of just watching him die and claiming the cap for himself, he deals with the M22 and finishes him off for his third kill. And then, watch this. He pushes this guy into the cap while protecting him, and also when they cap together, he can finish the repair process quicker. Furthermore, he also shares the Civil Line NRP with him. That's just great gameplay. Especially at low tier, I think I have never seen something like this. This is already worth showcasing, right boys and girls? That is amazing. And after he has captured that point, he just goes on the hunt yet again. A quick look at the minimap shows that, B is not contested by his team, and the last team member around B just got killed. Now the BT7 and him are the last two team members in the middle of the map while he tries to help out on C. The rest of his teammates are either dead, around C, or on their way to C, or near the spawn, whatever. And so this is very dramatic. The BT7 that he just tried to support now got killed. A is contested, and immediately he swings around to deal with the threat. But again, he's the only tank of his entire team in the center of the map after like 5 minutes of playtime. It's not looking good, is it? Do we have yet another heartbreak? Well, that has to be seen. He looks around, he doesn't see anything, and again he goes directly into the cap, but he's coming from the backside, surprising the M3 Steward and, well, disabling him with a shot into the turret. He bounces a shot and then turns around to deal with this guy from the front. Very aggressive, immediately decapturing the point and just watching out. 4th kill. So the gameplay doesn't start all that fascinating in contrast to some other gameplays that I have seen, but we will have a look at this gameplay in the long run, quite literally. So again, the nostalgia factor. As I said, this is one of the earliest maps in War Thunder, and it shows because there is not all that many buildings. Despite the map having seen several reworks, it is very hilly, there are a lot of ridgelines, and this is what I love. If I'm forced into close quarters, then I'd love to have it on this map and not a dumb city map. And also, well, this tank, with its armor, its speed and its firepower, and that Camille never really stood a chance. And then there's this Crusader Mark I interrupting rudely and receiving a shell to the turret for its trouble, and he finishes him off with a shot through the lower glacis in such normal fashion in terms of behavior that he's very used to this, it seems like. As I said, he looks a bit like a seal clubber. He looks around, doesn't see anything, and he wants to go for B. But again, he looks around. And then he sees some action, but he doesn't stop. He wants to get into a better firing position on the flank of this Crusader Mark II. And he is now okay with the position. Shot number 1. And then he aims for the front lower glacis, and he finishes him off like that. Well, that looked very professional. And so now he wants to go for yet another cap, B. So the reason why you don't see that many seal clubbers at lower tiers is because of the civil line income and also the RP income. The civil line modifier is 0.3 times 2.0, and the modifier for RP is 1.06. That is not great, bouncing yet another shot and getting yet another kill while contesting his 4th capture zone. So you see, he has his hands full. The question is, if you get so many more captures and so many more kills done, maybe there is somewhere a sweet spot in terms of battle rating and tier where a lot of people just converge, trying to have both fun, trying their best to win the game, but also civil line earning and also researching. Now obviously with this artificial increase to tier 7, a lot of the premiums were devalued. But in terms of fun, they still very often have their place. And I think this tank is one of them. And I think I have really overlooked this tank in the past. It's been a few years since I tried that out, and it was in arcade, and it didn't really work out that well for me in terms of this being a secret seal clubber. And now we have overall in War Thunder 1,500 vehicles, helicopters, tanks, planes, ships, whatever, and so it's pretty difficult for me to keep up with every single tank, plane, ship, helicopter, whatever. And so this is just simply one of those things where replays from subscribers or people that just want to share their awesome gameplay with me, they just shed a new light on War Thunder. Again, Fici is going in here aggressively, contesting the cap and just dealing here with this M3A1 Steward that patrolled around this capture zone. But he's too quick with his reload of roughly 2.9 seconds with the 3rd shot to finish him off for his double ace, and he is contesting his 5th cap. The 5th cap. Imagine that in your premium whatever rank 5 tank. That would pay off massively. Obviously it's significantly easier to do this at low tier, especially as an experienced player, but nevertheless a lot of people just go for kills, right? So he hears the enemy tank, he spots the M3 shooting at some aircraft, which is unhealthy for your long-term survival, and he got the cap. And now he hears the enemy approaching, and Chiha just killed one of his teammates. He screws up the ambush directly, but the gun handling is so different between the two tanks that it was still perfectly viable to take that kill that way. So 5 caps and 12 kills. That's already amazing. And it looks now better for his team, because they have the point advantage, they have the cap advantage, and they have Fizzy on their team, right? Bouncing yet another 2 shots and removing the enemy tank again with 1 kill shot. Yeah, this is the APHE BC round that I spoke of. Again, this unique Soviet shell type that has to be found rather rarely on in any other tech tree, aside from more or less ships. So he wants to go for C now and support his team that seems to have been in a long-term struggle at this capture zone. But then B gets contested and it's too far away to really react to it. Then he gets shot in the back of the turret, which he bounces, and immediately he turns around and reacts to it. And there is the M3. The turret rotation speed was a bit too bad to get the shot accurately into the front plating, but watch how he prepares. M3 goes over the ridgeline directly into the crosshair. Kill number 14. And now A again is contested, and again he swings around before he just could go and help his team out in C. That is one of those points of this entire gameplay that made me really wonder why so many of his teammates just didn't really achieve what he achieved by just flanking, you know, going around. Yes, I mean, in War Thunder you have to learn quite a few things in specific game mechanics, but I think that this is true for any sort of gameplay, any sort of game, that, you know, if you come and create several crossfires, that this is just beneficial. And a lot of people just don't do this. So I think that at this low tier you can see the big discrepancy in terms of success if you pick the right tank and you have the right tactic, and if you're always on the move, always on the hunt. You don't become the hunted. You're not just bound in a standoff, right? And that is yet another capture point that he tries to contest. So when we look at this tank's armor, from the shape of it, it looks like a miniature version of a T-34, and I think that it is, in terms of design, one of the predecessors. But also the armor is well angled, and in combination with all the salad in front of the tank's armor, again, as I said in the beginning, this might confuse some low-tier early beginner players. However, it is also thick. It's thicker than the Tech Tree T50, which is also pretty effective. The T50 has a front plating of, 40 millimeters, whereas the T126 has a front plating of 55 millimeters, angled at 50 degrees, and that is an effective thickness of around 80 to 85 millimeters. And the lower glacis is not the most obvious target, and also the turret armor is really well angled. While he finished it off here, this M13, by also knocking out the gunner with the machine gun, again showing great knowledge about the game mechanics and how to kill enemy tanks, he moves on now to B. He gets strafed by aircraft, but, you know, whatever. But those aircraft alerted the Crusader Mark II, and he saw him a split second before he shot. He turned around, and the Crusader gets a second shot off to no effect, except for receiving a shell to the turret for his trouble. And again, he aggressively hunts him down with the shot. The Crusader Mark I doesn't reload in time because of the loader being knocked out, I guess, and he swings around. So the thing is, we also have 2.9 second reload for this 45mm gun that also shoots next to the APHE BC round, also APCR with over 100mm of penetration. So you have everything in this tank that you need, except maybe a heavy machine gun, but that would be a little bit overpowered versus a lot of the tanks that you can come across. So A got contested by the enemy team, however Fizzy doesn't turn around immediately. Instead he decaps B, restarting the ticket bleed for the enemy team. And when he caps this one, you know, he also hopes that his teammates for once do something, because they're coming from 3 different directions and they're already engaging the tanks in A. And again, he angles down and he just simply hopes that he can cap here in peace. And that is a really good progress, but just let's have a look at the result. He has 2 kill assists, he has 18 kills, and in just a moment he will claim his 7th capture point. Imagine this in a gameplay with a higher battle rating. And you know what? That's actually the end of the gameplay. Let's have a look at the post-battle results, at least the few that I got. And there we can see the leaderboard easily just tripling the score points of the second of his team, and still tripling the one of the best of the enemy team. 6,744 score points for 18 kills, 2 kill assists, and 7 capture points with no death. So that means he also got quite a few of epic medals. Sadly, I didn't receive the other screenshot, and that means that I can assume that still, despite the low civil line and RP modifiers, we still can expect roughly 10,000 RP and something in the region of between 90 and 120,000 civil lines. That's something that I expect, depending if you calculate with premium or without it. So that was one hell of a frantic gameplay, very energetic, very fun to watch. So thank you very much, FiciCZ, for sending in that replay. I hope you enjoyed this replay, and I hope that you enjoyed the commentary. If so, please give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.